Seamus Bruner, Director of Research for the Government Accountability Institute, and Rachel O'Brien, Deputy Public Policy Editor for Open the Books. Okay, so, Seamus, let's get into this real quick. I'm thinking to myself, like, these guys just do whatever they want. They're on the taxpayer dime. Why should they not have to do all these things like the UCMJ?
Yeah, it's a brilliant proposal, Carl. It's good to be with you. And while we're at it, we should open up the hush fund payments that Congress seems to have gotten away with. I mean, why on earth are taxpayers funding the sexual dalliances of members of Congress? This should be blown wide open. How did Me Too somehow miss Congress?
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. But, Rachel, while we're on Congress, the deadline to prevent a government shutdown is a week away. But, like, here's the thing. If you wait to the last minute, it only takes a minute because of the hovering pressure. All these politicians will just ram anything through so they can get home for the weekend, so they can pass this bill, and us be damned, they're just going to spend all this stuff like federal buildings. Only 6% of people actually go to work anymore for the federal government.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that a crazy statistic? We found this out just recently with Senator Joni Ernst. She brought this up, brought it to the forefront. The nation's capital is a ghost town. You know, ask anyone who's there. 6% of the federal workforce, they are in person full time. So we're paying for these empty buildings. Department of Energy, they have 1 million square feet of space. There are 8 people there on an average day.
8?
So, yeah. And we're paying to keep the lights on. We're paying the leases for these buildings.
Yeah.
And people get to stay home pretty permanently, at least until 2028, 29. Recently, the federal unions passed a new contract. They get to stay home. They don't have to go to work in these empty buildings.
It's so dumb. I mean, I hate the government. All right, so, Seamus, the other thing is Trump's talking about privatizing the potential U.S. Postal Service, okay? They've lost over $100 billion since 2007. I was telling people, like, I have a property upstate. There are more employees of the post office in the town than there are employees of the town itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurd. Last year alone, I read that report. They lost $10 billion, just about $9.5 billion. That's $3 billion more than the previous year. And this is as they're mixing up our packages, misdelivering them, losing them, and even throwing them away.
Yeah. No accountability whatsoever. That's the craziest thing about all this stuff. Is if they lose your mail, oh, okay. But if I take someone's mail, it's a federal offense. It's so stupid. All right, speaking of stupid. Okay, so Rachel, every single time these labor unions come in and they're like, we want all this stuff, they make all these demands, the companies capitulate to them, and then they have to fire 20%, 17%, 10,000, 12,000 in the case of UPS, 17,000 in the case of UAW. But now, Costco has basically given them the finger. It was like, we are not going to agree to 98% of the stuff that you want in these because we can't afford it, because then we would have to raise our prices and no one would be able to afford the stuff that we sell. And all of a sudden, like, the union's like, whoa, this is bad. Why won't you do this? Well, I say don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's great that they've actually pushed back. You don't, like you said, you don't see that people are terrified of unions, right? So that's an amazing response. Of course, prices are going to go up. All of those things that unions are asking for are oftentimes unrealistic. We know that. I mentioned unions earlier with this building department thing. Federal unions, they get whatever they want. They said we don't want to go to work. They don't have to go to work. So people are scared, obviously, to push back with unions, but sometimes when you do push back, you do realize that, you know, they are as scared as you are of them.
Right, but if everybody just pushed back on them and said, no, we're not giving you like 39 vacation days of paid family leave or whatever the heck they wanted this time, and, you know, midnight banana eating leave because they might get hungry and they might not be able to come to work because they didn't get a good night's sleep. I mean, this is the crazy. Anyway, I'm off on a roll on this. Seamus Bruner, Rachel O'Brien, pleasure as always.